Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET Now show where we get you all the stocks buzzing in trade. We also have now Chandan Taparia who will be joining us on the show to take us through all the stocks that are buzzing on technicals. But first up, let's talk about AB Money. And yes, I did vaguely mention it in the previous segment, talking about you have the Aditya Birla stocks, all of them buzzing in trade, and Aditya Birla Money in particular has hit an upper circuit of about 5%, highest level since January 31st. That is because their Q4 PAT has more than doubled to about 16.46 crore rupees, and the total revenue saw a jump of about 73.1% in the quarter gone by. So on back of a stellar set of earnings, the stock is now locked in the upper circuit of about 5%.
Let's move on and talk about Sudarshan Chemicals. At least some of these chemical companies have seen a bit of a move coming in. Now, why is that so? What has happened is there's a company, German-based company, which is Hibu-back German company which files for insolvency. Now they have an Indian subsidiary as well, so the stock of that has seen a sharp fall coming in because the parent company is filing for insolvency. Now this is the second largest global pigment player that is seeking insolvency proceedings, and Sudarshan is the third largest pigment player. So obviously all the benefits that come in will trickle in for Sudarshan Chemical. If a company is shutting down, where will the business go? Then it's going to be to the third player, which is Sudarshan Chemical, which is the third largest player. And Hiback has actually come out with the insolvency, and they're saying that there is obviously mainly this is because of the administration. They're exploring restructure and sales options as well. So we'll be keeping an eye out on more updates on that one. But because of this, we're seeing Sudarshan Chemicals that is buzzing in trade because yes, it turns out it will be beneficial for them. There'll be new products which is a possibility for them to see an uptick, and that is why a 14% uptick for the stock.
All right, let's move on then. And Gaurav, let's talk about Aarti Drugs. And why is this one in focus today?
Aarti Drugs is in focus because US FDA recently had an inspection at one of their facilities, which is placed in Himachal Pradesh. And according to US FDA, now they have received 5 inspections observation in Form 483. Now, company has said that none of the observations are related to the data integrity at Himachal Pradesh facility, but the company is also definitely closely working with US FDA to resolve this issue. If you look at the stock performance, it is up almost 1.1%. But given that they have received this observation from US FDA, this stock is definitely going to be in focus in the days coming ahead.
Alright, so that is Aarti Drugs to keep on your radar. Let's talk about a stock that is actually seeing an uptick of about 4.5% or so, and that is RPP Infra Projects. That particular stock saw a sharp up move in short while ago, and that's because they informed the exchanges that their JV has bagged an order worth about 410 crore rupees, and on back of this sort of an order win, the stock actually saw a huge spike, Vinny, and now it is actually locked in the upper circuit of about 5% or so. So that is RPP Infra Projects. JV has bagged an order worth about 410 crore rupees, and a lot of these infra companies or infra majors have been actually reporting a good set of order wins, isn't it?
Absolutely, order wins, their updates, which we see is also surely something that is positively working out for them. So yes, keeping an eye on that. But let's move on to the next one, and we'll talk about HUL because HUL will be reporting its numbers tomorrow. So we're keeping an eye out on this FMCG major. Subdued numbers is what we're expecting. Nothing exciting. A volume growth maybe of around 2 to 3% is what we could say could come in from HUL. Revenue is expected to be muted at around 6-10% of growth, while profits a decline of around 3.5%. Margins expected to see a contraction of around 30 basis points, and low single-digit growth mainly is the factor. What is this growth getting impacted by? Rural recovery is not yet coming. Competitive intensity from regional players as well as overall that is increasing. So yes, keeping an eye out on that. Demand trends, they are expected to be similar to Q2 and Q3. So that was quite subdued, and that is a trend that is expected to continue in Q4. And food and refreshment expected to see a muted growth. HPC expected to see a muted growth. And let's not forget the new concern that's come in is from the health food drink space as well, right? That is the trend now, that your sugar content, being more healthy. Yes, HUL has not so far seen any impact, or it was not any of the HUL products, but commentary on that surely will be key to watch out for from them, because the HFD segment has just started seeing some mild recovery. So let's watch out for all of that tomorrow from HUL's numbers.
All right, so HUL definitely in focus on back of those earnings that we are expecting tomorrow. But Gaurav, let's talk about Kesoram Industries. And why is this particular stock in focus today?
if you look at the Q4 FY24 updates. So for example, the consolidated revenue now stands at 1,000 crore rupees, which is up only by 2% on a YY basis. Whereas if you look at the EBITDA, it now stands at 76 crore rupees, which actually records a degrowth of 30% on a YY basis. If you look at EBITDA margins also, now they stand at 7.1% versus what it was at 10.3% a year ago. And lastly, if you look at consolidated net income, actually it reported consolidated losses of 244 crore rupees, which actually widened from previous year's losses of 26.13 crore rupees. Now, if you look at the stock performance, it has actually shown a rebound movement in the day's trade. But given that the weak set of numbers have come up from the company, this stock is definitely going to be in focus, because let's not forget that on a YTD basis, this stock has actually underperformed almost by 2%. So that is why this stock is definitely going to be in focus.
Surely keeping an eye out on Kesoram Industries, a stock one should watch out for. Let's bring on Chandan Taparia as well. Chandan, very good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in with us on Market Fatafat. AB Capital, that's the first stock that you've picked out for us. So on the charts, technicals, what is the level that one should keep an eye out on for AB Capital? Currently at 219. Where do you see it headed? Because all these Birla Group companies are buzzing in trade.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks for having me. So most of the Birla Group companies are doing well, and especially talking about AB Capital, technically it has given a breakout from a pole and flake pattern. Earlier it was finding hurdle at 208, 210 in last 10-11 days. Today it surpassed the same with short covering activity. So expecting further run up in the counter, one can buy with support of 212, expecting the momentum to extend towards 230, 235 levels.
Alright, so that is AB Capital, that is buzzing in trade today, and that was Chandan's take coming in on that particular counter. But let's talk about Patel Engineering then, Vinny. And that particular stock is in focus in today's trading session. They've actually launched a QIP and set a floor price for the QIP at around 59.5 rupees per share. The company's board has authorized the opening of the issue on April 22nd, and also in the board meeting that was held in March, the company had approved the resolution to raise not more than 500 crore rupees via the QIP route, and the company can offer a discount up to 5% to the floor price. Furthermore, if you see Patel Engineering, they informed the allotment committee will be meeting on April 25th to consider and determine the issue price for the equity shares to be allotted to the QIP buyers. That is what the company has said in its filing. So on back of that, your Patel Engineering, that is in focus, now trading with gains of about 1.3% or so.
Let's move on, talk about Grasim then. Chandan, one more company coming in there, and what is the view on Grasim? We've seen almost a 40% uptick in the last 1 year. Where should we see the stock headed as well? Buzz to continue for this one as well?
Yeah, so positive move is likely to be there, as you mentioned, that most of the certain Birla Group related companies are doing well, and we have seen a moment in Grasim because of the moment in selective telecom. Even few cement counters are doing well. If I look at the derivatives setup, the open interest fell by around 11%, which clearly indicates the short covering. Major trend is positive. Stock is heading towards the new lifetime high territory. So that is the reason that it still will like a positive stance on the same. So recommending to buy the stock with support of 2300, and stock has potential to rally towards 2500 zone.
Okay, keeping an eye out on Grasim and those levels over there. Let's move on to the next stock, and we'll talk about Cummins India. This one is in focus. Why? We have a brokerage note that's come in from Citi, where they're increasing the target price to 3,519 rupees from previous target price of 3,039 rupees per share. So this stock is holding on to gains of 2%. Now, what Citi is highlighting is that they believe that obviously they've increased their P multiple as well to 58 times from earlier 52 times. There's strong traction in the domestic business. The outgoing capex revival is something that they're working on, the company, and overall the chances have increased of a power deficit. So yes, they're keeping an eye out on Cummins India. They've given a buy rating for this one. All overall, when you're looking at it, all these stocks are something that have been in focus for some time as well. The cap good space is something that we are keeping an eye out on, but Cummins today is in focus on the back of a note from Citi, up an uptick of 1.5 to 2% in trade today.
All right, so that is Cummins India to keep on your radar on back of the City note where they have gone ahead and hiked the target. But let's talk about BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange Limited, that is listed on the bourses. Chandan, that one is seeing a sharp rise in trade today. If you look at the BSE charts today, it's up about 9% or so. You can note that spike in the 6-month chart as well. It's performed really well, 72% over the last 6 months. Where do you see BSE headed for from here on? Do you see more scope or further upside on the charts in particular?
Yes, we are positive on most of the exchange and broking related companies, and BSE has given a typical breakout from its pole and flake pattern, which has bullish implication. Before starting the move today, it has seen a consolidative move last 12 trading session. Today, it has surpassed the hurdle of 2950 with surge in the huge trading volume. I think trading volume is beyond 26-27 lakhs, and positive price pattern along with the momentum clearly indicates the rally could extend. And the way the company, the way now we have two expiries from BSE on Sensex and Bankex, the activity and participation is also the reason why the momentum in prices we seen in the counter. So recommending to buy for upside, one can buy with support of 3020. Here we are target towards 3250 to 3300 levels.
Let's put the spotlight then on the entire gas sector. And why is that? Because you have BofA, there's Bank of America, that's come out with a note on entire gas sector. Mainly it's an initiation note that they have come out with, Vinny, where they've initiated coverage on IGL, that is Indraprastha Gas Limited, with a buy rating. They've set a target price of 540 rupees per share. A buy rating initiation coming in for Mahanagar Gas with a target price of 1,680 rupees per share, and a buy initiation coming in for GAIL as well, with a target price of 235 rupees per share. And if you look at the target price, substantially higher from where the stocks are trading at this point in time. Apart from that, they've initiated coverage on Gujarat Gas as well with an underperformed rating. They set a target price of 455 rupees per share. And Petronet LNG, they've initiated coverage with a target price of 320 rupees per share. Talking specifically about the entire sector, they're saying the gas consumption will be rising at a 10% CAGR or FY 23-26. That's driven by CGDs as infrastructure improves. The LNG dependency is likely to persist. So, talking about specific stocks, they're saying for Petronet, LNG regas volumes could rise on low spot LNG, but the valuations are fair. For GAIL, they are saying infra competition, tariff revision, low HH prices drive the positive view for the counter. For Indraprastha Gas, they're saying EV threat, they believe it's overblown. The valuations are undemanding for IGL. And for MGL, they're saying that the CNG volume growth momentum will continue going ahead. While for Gujarat Gas, earnings sensitive to spot volatility despite CNG push, and they believe that the valuations are expensive. So this is what BofA has to say, the entire gas space in their initiation report.
Absolutely, keeping an eye on that. But let's move on and talk about Bharti Airtel on the charts then. And Chandan, what are the chart indicating for Bharti Airtel? We have seen the stock buzzing in trade. In the last 1 month, it's managed to pick up pace. Last 6 months also, it's seen a good traction overall, right? 40-50% of the last 6 months is not bad. Do you still expect a further upside for Bharti Airtel?
So we like entire sector, telecom sector. I'm talking about whether you talk about Bharti Airtel, Idea or other name. So Bharti Airtel has seen the positive momentum, trend is intact. It has been making higher top, higher bottom. We have seen sustained move, and we believe that momentum could continue. So one can hold or can aid the existing position with support of 1295. Here we are target towards 1420 zone.
All right, so that is on Bharti Airtel. But let's take note of India Wix, because we've seen a sharp crack that's come about in India Wix. Now it's down in excess of about 20%. That is your India Volatility Index, 10.13 is the levels that it is at. And yes, a very, very sharp crack coming in on that particular index, that's your Volatility Index, India Wix. We will be discussing about the significance of this move. What does this mean, and what should you keep in mind at 2:30 p.m. with Kunal Bothra on the crack that we are witnessing in India Wix? Now, excess of 20% is what India Wix has cracked, Vinny.
Absolutely, excess of 20%. That's something interesting that one should watch out for there today. Keeping an eye out on that. So yes, that's the India Wix that we're highlighting for you all. But let's move on, carry on with some other stocks that have been buzzing in trade. And Gaurav, we have Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank that is in focus today. What is the reason behind this? Is it an earnings candidate?
Absolutely, as you said, bank came up with their 4Q numbers, and if you look at the numbers, and net interest income actually increased by 5.6% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. But if you look at PPOP, which is pre-provisional operating profit, it declined almost by 1%, and PAT declined almost by 10.9%. Now the bank has said that they have made some provisions for employee expenses, and because of which we have seen this decline in PPOP. Because if you look at PAT numbers on a YY basis, this number has remained flat. Apart from that, if you look at advances, they have grown almost by 6.4%, while deposits grown almost by 3.7% on a YY basis. It was actually on a weaker side because management had earlier given a guidance of growth of 12 to 15%. If you look at CASA ratio, it is up 80%, 80 bips actually on a YY basis. And apart from that, now management has said that NIMs will be maintained above 4% levels, and at the same time, they are also expecting ROA to reach 2% level in FY25. But all in all, if you look at the numbers, because of the weak set of numbers that the company has, actually the bank has given for 4Q FY24, we saw a negative sentiment hitting up to the stock price. But definitely keeping an eye on this stock, because we may see some movement coming up with the stock price in coming days.
All right, so that is on Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank. In fact, we actually spoke to the management, the MD and CEO of the company, to understand the way forward and where they see this, the company headed from here on. Listen in to what they have to say.
See, it's true that we have been planning to have growth of around 5 to 15%. This is what I gave the guidance last time. You are absolutely right. But I will also like to recollect what I said, that this year, 2023-24, we took a transformation process. Any transformation has got its own lead time to stabilize. The transformation process, as the initial step, we took particularly on the credit side, and that too more particularly on the MSME front. When I say so, the project is almost completed. As a part of the transformation, what we did was we have created hubs, MSME hubs, at different geographical locations. I have around 12 regional offices across the length and breadth of the country. Against that 12 regional offices, I have now established my hubs in almost 9 places. The rest of the 3 also will be done in a month or so. Now, these hubs have started yielding the good results for the bank. It has a twin advantage. One is that I have posted exclusive relationship managers whose job is for the sourcing and giving to the processing team. The processing team are separate, independent. Thereby, I am able to establish and ensure the underwriting standards are at a high level. I have posted specialized people for the underwriting at these hubs so that I can ensure the quality of the advances. Now, these have started yielding their results. In as much as the 23-24 was in the transformation and we were transforming from the good old process to this, yes, it was taking little time for stabilizing. Now it has almost stabilized. I expect that 24-25 should be a good one. Added to that, we also have plans to engage feet on street model for the purpose of sourcing, where the lead, basically a lead management can be taken. So, and also we also have taken the board approval for co-lending, which we will be taking up. With these things, I expect that 24-25, we will be able to achieve what the guidance I gave in this 24-25 and pick up to the industry level growth.
All right, let's talk about MCX. Chandan, looks like you like these exchange companies because, and also you said, yes, you're positive on brokerage also. But MCX, look at the rally, and this is only 6 months. If you look at the entire 1 year, 2.5 times is the rally that MCX has registered.
2.5 times almost. So that's already such a bumper move. I don't know from where on will it move from here. That's
but you know, also to notice that, Vinny, that there has been some negative news flows also that actually made sure that the stock corrected from those elevated levels. But what is the screen showing you now, Chandan? 78% in just the 6 months alone, barring that negative news as well. Where do you see MCX headed from here on?
So yes, quite positive on most of the exchange and broking related companies, and MCX is one of the counter which is all set for the first leg of breakout. Earlier we witnessed profit booking at higher levels, but every decline is being bought, if you notice, in the month of March or in the month of Feb. So we believe that supports are shifting higher. Even if you notice, just 6-7 days back it witnessed a decline to us 36.60, but that decline is again being bought, and today the stock is all set to give the highest daily close, which itself indicates the fresh leg of rally. So that is the reason that I'm selecting to go long on MCX, expecting fresh leg of rally. one can buy with support of 3900, expecting a run up towards 4200 in MCX.
That's the target that one should keep an eye out on over there for MCX. Let's move on, talk about a company that will be reporting its numbers today. We have Tata Consumers that's in focus. You know, we spoke about it yesterday. We saw the stock see a sharp run up. Now today it's a different story. You know, it saw a fall of almost 1%, recovered from the day's lowest point. This is all the action that's happening ahead of its earnings. Today they'll be reporting post-market hours. So yes, we are keeping an eye out on that. But in terms of numbers that one should be expecting from Tata Consumers, a 9 to 10% growth in terms of revenues. Profits of the company expected to see a growth of around 4 to 5%, and while margins expected to see an expansion of around 100 basis point. Margin expansion mainly because we've seen over the last year versus last year, tea prices, salt prices, they have seen a decline. So raw material costs have declined on a year-on-year basis, but maybe in the last 1 month, you know, again those coffee prices, tea prices have seen a bit of a rise. So commentary is something that you should watch out for from Tata Consumers. India food business, a double-digit growth that we're expecting there, while in terms of overall the international business, that's expected to see an improvement, as well as beverage segment is expected to see an improvement as well, and an increase over there, a high single-digit growth that one could expect from the beverage business of the company. Keep an eye out on any commentary that's coming in from Capital Foods, Organic India. That's one to watch out for, and market share in tea is a key factor to watch out for. But that's Tata Consumers for you all, a bit subdued in trade ahead of numbers.
Right, that is Tata Consumer for you. Watch out for that one, and let's not forget in the quarter gone by they made their acquisition as well, right,
Yes.
Vinny? So yes, Tata Consumer in focus on back of all of those factors as well. But Chandan, CDSL, this one also in focus. I believe it's a similar peg that you have, given the fact that your bullishness on the entire exchange brokerage space is all. What's your take coming in for CDSL? More scope for this one also to go ahead, to rise ahead?
So I'm going with the theme which is working well in the market. If you notice, the Nifty just few points higher than the lower levels, but most of these stocks are giving the breakouts, and the strength which is clearly seen in the daily and the weekly chart indicates the fresh leg of rally, and that is the reason that I'm going long with the CDSL, expecting fresh leg of rally. Technically speaking, it is also making higher top, higher bottom on the weekly chart. It has surpassed the multiple barrier of 2040. Today it opened positive and witnessing sustained buying interest. So all these are indicating fresh run up in the counter. One can buy with support of 2040, and this rally should extend towards 2220 zone.
What is the next stock? And Gaurav, Zydus Life Science, I believe that's the stock you've picked out for us. What's the latest update that we have on Zydus? What's the stock doing today in trade?
Yes. For Zydus Life Science, there's a new development coming up, and this is basically their new drug which is decidestat tablet, has been approved in to be distributed in China. Now, the phase 3 trial which was held in China demonstrated some positive results, and on the back of this, they actually have approved this drug distribution of the drug in China. If you look at this drug decidestat, it is already being marketed by the group in India under the name of Oxemia. Now, this drug is technically used to treat anemia in chronic kidney diseases, and if we look at Chinese market, almost more than 120 million people have chronic kidney diseases in China, and on back of this, we may see some uptick coming up in the sales of Zydus Life, because this is actually a huge opportunity for the company if they are now allowed to sell this drug in China. On back of this news, if you look at the stock performance also, it showed a little higher uptick, and it is almost a 0.2% by now, but definitely keeping an eye on this stock because we may see some further upside coming up in this stock.
Absolutely, that is Zydus Life for you, something to watch out for. No doubt the stock is trading flat right now in trade, but let's take a look at what the markets are doing, because we are seeing some sort of a tad bit of recovery coming in the markets, not meaningful, but nevertheless not that bad as well, holding on to gains of
22,400 again, those levels is what it's managing to move around
absolutely.
today, right?
So that is coming in for Nifty index, no doubt. Let's watch out for the India VIX as well, because a short while ago you saw that crack extending right up to the 20%. It is around 10 odd levels. That is your India VIX that is under pressure, and the news flashing on the bottom of the screen as well. Watch out for that one also. That's a significant development on the national front, where the court has extended Kejriwal's judicial custody in the liquor policy, excise policy case till May 7th.
Absolutely, and I just want to mark some of the names that were started pulling up. The market right now supporting it was Bharti Airtel. Infosys, Tata Motors as well as SBI, which are among the top contributors for the Nifty 50 today. And that's something to watch out for. Bharti Airtel up 3.5%. We spoke about the stock as well, but we did have SBI, which is managing, Infosys, ITC, all of them managing to hold on, as well as Tata Motors. That's among the top contributor today as well in trade. So that's how we are looking at it in terms of the market move so far.
Yeah, in fact, Tata Motors, if you watch out for that particular counter, Vinny, over the last 15 minutes also, that one has seen an uptick of as much as 1% or so. So that one also has seen a recovery. You see Aurobindo Pharma also last 15 minutes, that one also has seen a recovery. Power Grid, SBI Cards are the other set of stocks that have actually gained over the last 15 minutes or so. So yes, looks like some sort of a recovery at least coming in for the defensive names in particular.
Absolutely, but on that note, thank you so much, Chandan, Gaurav, as well as Osho for joining in with us, and Snehi for joining in with us today on the show. But it's summer season, and that's what we're going to be talking about as well. The need of soft drinks is ever increasing, and as summer continues to swelter every passing day, we spoke to Rasna Group's chairman, Piruz Kambata, and got his views on the demand trends, what's shaping up this time. My colleague Bhavya actually managed to speak to them, so let's go across and listen into what they had to say.
As regards consumption of soft drink is concerned, the per capita consumption in India is much smaller than any other developed nation. So of course, if you have to catch on, there is much things to catch on. But this year is better, and I think all the blues of COVID are gone, and we are back to growth. I think when I say we miss the whole soft drink industry, which is very good news. And also, the whole, what I call, the whole paradigm has changed, the whole market has changed. And now customers are willing to pay premium for better products. And I think that is a good opportunity for many of technologically driven companies like us. Like Rasna, as you all know, Rasna is a brand, you know, Rasna is part of the childhoods, but a lot of people may not know that we are basically technocrats. And some of the best inventions in the categories of concentrates have been done by Rasna, be it Ghar Ka Nimbu Pani.
Right, and Interglobe Enterprises and Technology Industry veterans like C.P. Gurnani have come together to launch an artificial intelligence business venture that is AI on OS. My colleague Sumit Chaturvedi caught up and had a chance to understand with both the business that strategy and was the way forward for this particular venture.
I think it's a collective dream of Interglobe and my family office, Asago. The collective dream is taking into account the discontinuities or the gaps in customer experience. When you look at a customer, the customer is not siloed. They do not look at individual who met you at the airport, from that to the website, to the phone call, or to the next guy who talks about you on the social media. So the customer is always wanting to integrate all the data points and be able to interact with you and get a decision from you. And this industry is all about customer experience. The focus sectors are travel, hospitality, logistics, and transport. So I think it was a common dream between me and Mr. Bhatia. The common dream was that if we marry the technology, evolution of technology, the evolution of AI, and it is not only about robotics, it is not about machine learning alone, it is not only about conversational AI, it's not only about generative AI, it is about all AI coming together. So for want of better words, we use the word AI OS, operating system built around AI with a human touch. I think that is the driver, and there is a lot of work to be done, a lot of scope. We are happy that we launched the platform.
And let's ask Mr. Rahul Bhatia, aviation pioneer. You changed the way Indians travel in India through your low-cost model. Do you expect to do the same in AI also, being a trendsetter in AI, because you've been an industry, aviation industry veteran?
Yeah, Sumit, I think so. I mean, part of the promise we bring to the table is that we are a startup. We can build on a clean sheet of paper. like I shared with you earlier today. We transcend several different industries in TTLH. We think we have institutional knowledge on where the issues are confronting the industries, and with CP's own background over the years, we believe that we can bring some unique propositions to the market that will help the industries at large.
Okay, and surely that was an interesting chat there. But with that, we're absolutely out of time on this edition of Market Fatafat. A goodbye from Cheryl, myself, as well as the team who put this show together.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.